Hey, this is Walt from StogieReview.com here with another video cigar review. And this time around I'm doing a short ashes review on a cigar that I think we reviewed in the past. I've been struggling with my Windows Vista laptop, and I'm just kind of staring at it waiting for it to start so that I can log onto the site and check to see if in fact we did review this cigar. I'm pretty sure that we did, but I really won't know for sure, and I won't know who to tell you to look up until I can get these computer problems fixed, or I just go grab the Mac. So in the meantime, the cigar I'm going to be reviewing is the Rocky Patel Old World Reserve Maduro. And I'm not much of a Rocky Patel fan. You're probably well aware of that if you follow the site. Just the bulk of his stuff really doesn't do anything for me. So I tend to stay away from it. I have tried the Old World Reserves in the past, but they were just something that really didn't grab my attention. The reason why I picked some up, or I have this Lancero here, is because I went to a cigar shop yesterday, and I was hanging out with Craig, Dave, my father, and a couple of the shop regulars over at Sir Stogie's, which is a shop out here in Pennsylvania. And I was just kind of wandering through the cigar shop, and I saw a box with a big, special sign on it. Discontinued special, $5 a piece. So I picked up two on a whim, just, the pricing was good. So I picked up two, and this is, the first of those two, and we'll see how it goes. Big brown section on the foot, I'm sure you can see, is homogenized tobacco. Some people say you can smoke right through it and it won't be an issue. Some people say take it off. Personally, I take it off. I'm not going to smoke through it. I don't think it's going to add anything to the cigar. And when you tear it, it kind of tears like cardboard. So it may very well be just paper, but at one point in time I think it was homogenized tobacco. So, with that removed, there's quite a bit of color variation on the cigar, especially around the veins. It looks unnaturally dark, just everywhere, and there's light. There's a light section running down the vein, like on either side of the vein. So, kind of interesting. It just seems really dark, so I'm just kind of wetting it and rubbing my thumb on it to see if anything comes off. I got a little bit of brown, but see how it goes. I guess you can laugh at me later if my lips are all black from dye. So I don't know when Rocky Patel discontinued the Old World Reserve Maduro Lancero, but from what it seems, it must be discontinued. If either that or the shops decided not to carry them anymore, and for whatever reason he's discounting them. But I thought the price was right. Pre-light draw is free. It's got a little bit of a pepper on the tip of the tongue. I just keep my eyes drawn to the wrapper. It's just really, really dark. Like, darker than it should be. I mean, I'm no stranger to thinking that Rocky Patel dyes this stuff, but I guess we'll find out. Now, that was kind of a pretty bold statement. I don't know that he dyes all of his stuff, but I have kind of wiped some of his cigars. I think it was the Edge Maduro. Wiped it with a wet paper towel, and the paper towel came away with one or two wipes, looking, really, really dark. There was a lot of color transfer, and that pretty much sealed my opinion on the Edge Maduros, that they were dyed. So we'll see how it goes. So it's got that Maduro creaminess and that stout sort of coffee flavor up front, and seems to be producing a decent amount of smoke. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'll be back at the halfway point. We'll take a look at the first half of the cigar. After that, I'll be back one more time. We'll look at the last half of the cigar. I'll wrap it up and let you be on your way. So sit back. Alright, well, I am back. I was finally able to get my computer up and running after a system restore. And, well, it's kind of a little embarrassing, but we've never reviewed this cigar. So I'm doing a short ashes review on a cigar that we've never reviewed. We have done the Old World Reserve Connecticut as well as the Old World Reserve Corojo. But somehow the Maduro slipped through the cracks, and it's a bit late to be doing a full-blown review on it. Since I'm not taking notes, I didn't bother to do any research on the cigar. And I just went by, went from memory. But so far, I think this is, I think it's performing okay for a $5 cigar. I'm having some difficulty keeping it lit. I'm doing a lot of knocking off a little bit of an ash so that I can relight it, and there's some harshness from all those relights. I don't know whether it's just a little wet, or what the case may be. It's been tremendously humid the last couple of days. The shop that I bought them in is both temperature controlled and humidity controlled. So it should have been 70-70 when I got it, and it's been in a Ziploc bag, so there shouldn't have been too much excess humidity from when I brought it home. But I'm definitely having some difficulty keeping it lit. When it's lit, it produces a good volume of smoke. It's pretty thick, coats the palate really nicely. It's easy to get through the sinuses. It's that thick type of smoke where it's easy to manipulate it through the sinuses as well as blow smoke rings. I know sometimes if you try to blow smoke rings with a cigar that smokes really airy, it's really difficult to do. In this case, it's nice and thick and dense, and it's just easy to kind of manipulate. As far as the flavor profile goes, it's got a nice creaminess to it that's sort of a combination between like the flavor that you get out of a Guinness combined with coffee. So it's got an interesting dynamic that I haven't picked up in a lot of other cigars, and I'm enjoying it. But that little bit of a harsh edge from the constant relights is kind of dropping it down as far as the performance scale. So all in all, it's a decent smoke so far. But, it's got its issues, and most of them revolve around the fact that I'm having difficulty keeping it lit. Burn-wise, when it burns, the burn line is, it's a little wavy, but it's not real bad. I haven't been able to let the ash sit on the cigar for very long because I'm constantly relighting it. It hasn't developed more than a half an inch before I've had to knock it off and relight. So I really don't know how strong that ash is. It seems pretty rigid, because sometimes I do have to kind of grind it off on the side of the ashtray. As far as the body's concerned, it's medium. It's got a creamy texture that I would deem medium body. The finish is creamy. It's got a bit of a harshness, but again, I think it's because of the constant relights. Took a look in the mirror. I don't have any dye on my face, so far so good. I smoke cigars pretty dry to begin with, so I don't get a lot of transfer. But every once in a while, you take a look in the mirror and you get black lips from a cigar that may or may not have been dyed. But so far, I'm definitely enjoying it, and I think it was a good buy at $5. But I'll cover more of that when I come back and wrap up the cigar. So I'm going to do a little bit more reading, just kind of enjoy the cooler office, and I'll be back in just a second. We'll take a look at the last bit of the cigar, wrap it up, and I'll let you be on your way. Well, I think it's about time to close this one out. I'm getting fairly short with my cigar. It's maybe 2 inches long, and I'm still struggling a bit keeping it lit, and it's getting a bit warm, and my tongue especially feels kind of battered and weary, almost as if the cigar is kind of aggressive. But a lot of times when I get that on the tongue, I also get it on the palate as well. In this case, I think it may be harshness and heat coming off the smoke and just hitting the broad section of my tongue, and that's the result of that weary feeling. But outside of that, I thought it was a good buy at $5. The flavors were interesting. Excuse me. They didn't change up much. They were very straightforward, and that sort of stout and coffee mixture lingered for quite some time. There was very little variation from it. And even though it is sort of like a one-track cigar, I didn't mind it so much. I thought it was a pleasant smoke, although a bit harsh. I've got one more. I'm probably going to pick up one or two more the next time I stop down if there are any left in the box. And I want to let them sit maybe a couple of months and see if, or a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and see if letting them sit at my preferred humidity level, which is the lower range, like between 63 and 65%. I want to see if that has anything, if that changes this burn problem I'm experiencing, where I'm having difficulty keeping it lit. Because I think if it burns straight through without any issues and relights, I think it would be smoother and that much more enjoyable. In this case, I was kind of struggling with it. I'd read so much, and then I'd have to put the book down, grab the lighter, touch it up, and that just seemed to happen far too frequently. It never went beyond medium bodied. The finish is kind of creamy. It's easy through the sinuses. There's a tiny little bit of pepper aroma through the sinus, but outside of that, it's just a very straightforward sort of stout and coffee mixture. As far as he's being discontinued, I really don't know how many are out there. If this is sort of like the last box floating around, I've never seen a box of Lanceros, which was kind of strange when I did see it. Now, a few months ago, I was in my local shop, and these sample boxes came in. I think there were 2 sun-grown Lanceros, 2 Old World Reserve Maduro Lanceros, and 1 or 2 other cigars in this sample box. And that's the only time I've ever seen this cigar in a Lancero size. I've never, walked into a cigar shop and seen a box of Lanceros sitting there. So it was kind of strange to see that. I don't know how common they are. They very well may be very common, and my local just never brought them in. So, being a fan of thinner cigars, I was really interested in giving them a shot, because I wasn't real crazy about the bigger Old World Reserve Maduros. I think I had the Toro, something like that, before. It was 50-ish ring gauge, and it was just kind of boring. The only thing that seemed to liven it up was a stout, and I thought the pairing of a stout and the Maduro Lancero and the Maduro was very nice. In this case, I'm just pairing it with water, and it was much more pleasant than the other stick. So I'd be interested to see how the other one turns out after having sat for a little while. And I think that's going to about close it out for the Short Ashes review of the Rocky Patel Old World Reserve Maduro Lancero. So until next time, happy smoking.